Welcome to States and Kingdoms. Jenna here.
Sean here.
Do you care if you listen to the Beatles in mono or stereo? Do you?
Yes, I do, Jenna.
I do too. We've been listening to the Beatles our entire lives since we were babies, basically.
Speak the truth, my faithful Indian
Right.
companion.
So as we matured, as we grew,
Yes.
and more as we read about the Beatles, learn more and more about them and the recordings and the entire history, scope of Beatles. Well, we realized that there's a fundamental issue with the Beatles that people aren't talking about. Go ahead, clip that out.
Some people talk about it. By the way, that was some fantastic circumlocution.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I do that.
That's who I am.
Yeah. We grew up listening to the Beatles in stereo, just like everyone did. They released all the Beatles albums on CD. They started releasing them in mono and then stopped and released all of, I think, what was it, the first 3 albums where they did release mono versions, and then after that it was just stereo. So, of course, everything, and obviously by the White Album, the stereo versions are
fine.
They're fine.
Yeah.
They're improved, and Abbey Road and Let It Be are just stereo anyway.
Right.
But we grew up listening to all of the albums in stereo. I didn't know until basically it wasn't because Dad had a nice stereo system.
He had a really nice hi-fi and really nice speakers.
Yeah, he had a pretty for the
it was
time.
High-end.
It wasn't audiophile level, but
Right.
It was very good.
Yeah.
And we always listened to everything through that.
Right.
We didn't have headphones. I didn't listen to anything on headphones. So it wasn't until like 2000, probably 2000.
Early 2000s.
That I remember the moment.
We had the same exact experience, basically, separately.
Yeah, I remember the moment. I was listening to Revolver, the CD on my Walkman, and I don't know if I just I don't know what happened. Somehow I just, and half the song disappeared.
Yep.
And I'm like, what?
What
Wait,
the?
I don't know. It never.
Yeah.
Somehow I had never noticed.
Me too.
How hard panned.
Yeah.
They are.
Well, with me, I was like walking home from school or work or something, and one of my headphones, my earbuds, wired, of course, like this, pre everything, it just failed. Right? So one of them just went, and all of a sudden, and I forget what actual album or song I was listening to, but all of a sudden, all I heard was like a backing vocal and hand claps or something, and I'm like, where'd the song go? What am I hearing out of just one ear? So crazy.
Yeah.
And then, of course,
And I'm the Walrus has a very interesting problem of actually just going to one side for. Yeah, all that stuff.
Super weird.
And, of course, anyone that has... I'll see if I can find the clip of Pete Townsend.
Actually, this afternoon, John and I were listening to a stereo LP of the Beatles, in which the voices come out of one side and the backing track comes out of the other. And when you actually hear the backing tracks of the Beatles without their voices, they're flipping loud,
The question is then, why the Beatles, the biggest band in the world, generally, most important band, right? Historically, let's just say that. Why are their recordings giving such little care? Why are the things that they initially, recorded, worked on, put out, planned to be the thing that was released? Why is that not the standard?
Well, it's just very simple. Why is it not readily available?
Yeah.
So recently, everyone watching this channel, most of you probably have the box set, actually.
Anybody want to sell it?
No, don't sell it.
To me.
Nah. Anyway, in 2014, the Beatles in mono box set that, a lot of people, they're very expensive now.
Yep.
And they just did another release of that.
Yeah. And no one told me.
And we missed it again. So good for us.
So we keep buying them separately. It's a real drag.
It doesn't matter. The thing is that it is kind of, I just find it ridiculous. The Beatles, the most successful, the most important, basically, rock band, the biggest rock band in the world still, the most well-known, doesn't have all of their recordings in every configuration available all the time.
As if people,
it's kind of strange.
As if Beatles fans wouldn't just buy it all anyway.
Yeah.
You know, like they would make a ton more money.
It's odd, and it's annoying, of course, because we keep missing it. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so this is actually both. We did get the stereo version, and
A while ago, yeah,
we've had the stereo version, which I don't listen to very often. I've never been a huge fan. Sgt. Pepper's not the Beatles album that I
It's not my favorite album either.
So far, when we've gotten the some of the mono mixes, like the White Album, I like the stereo mix. I could listen to both for that. Though I'm
used to the stereo mix.
Yeah, I'm
but
used to it.
There were a few slight.
It just wasn't, but it wasn't a question of quality.
No.
They both sound
good.
They both sound good.
Great.
And the mono masters was interesting though, because some of those really do sound quite different. Listening to this the first time, it's basically what I expected. I didn't expect it to be terribly different. I mean, I knew what the differences were.
Right.
And it's like, yep, there it is,
Yeah.
But it's interesting listening to this, just how what you would consider small changes make such a big difference. Mm-hmm. She's Leaving Home is probably the most interesting one, because I it's hard to say this again.
Tell the story.
No, it's hard to say. Like, if I say I've never really been a fan, I'm saying I'm not a fan as a Beatles song.
Right.
Which is not the same as not being a fan of, an Eagles song or something like that.
So what people need to understand.
Like, there's a level.
All Beatles songs are here.
Yeah.
And then there's ones that you like a lot, and then there's ones that you don't like as much.
So as far as on the Beatles scale of liking
and then the
things,
Gin Blossoms are down here. So the best Gin Blossom song is here.
Why are you picking on the Gin Blossoms?
I know, because they did before. No one saw that.
Because you're dressed like them?
No, this is not the Gin Blossoms. This is Pearl Jam.
Enough Pearl Jam. You get right out. So She's Leaving Home. It was if I got this right, they sped up the orchestra, the backing track, and Paul sang over it on the mono.
Right.
And then for the stereo, they different tape settings. The orchestra's playing at the proper speed, but now Paul's voice is slowed down a little bit.
Right, because
if that's what happened.
Yeah, like they didn't remember that they had initially sped up the orchestra so that he sang, along with a little bit speeded up.
I think the song it changes how I feel about the song a lot, just being a little bit more lively. It has a little bit less of like an Edwardian operetta feel.
Yeah.
And even though yes, it's kind of maudlin. I always thought it was
sentimental.
Yes, it's very
sentimental. Paul, what are you talking about?
It's very Victor Herbert, Hugh Herbert too.
Victor Hugo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hugo Weaving.
All right. Hugo Weaving. I'll stay here. With that different feel of it just being a little bit sped up, a little bit brighter.
Yeah.
It changes it a lot.
Well, now that I've gone back to both versions a little bit, the stereo version feels like labored.
It does. His voice does sound. I now. Yeah.
I feel like there is just like that little bit of like stretch, and it doesn't need to. It doesn't need to be like that. Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous.
And I think that's the case for the whole album. They're just these little changes that I feel like it's obviously it feels more cohesive. Things aren't panned right and left. I think the first song, the drums are so punchy.
The drums are great throughout the album, but yeah, there is such a energy, and they're like just a great sound. Like they're real boomy in like a tight, nice boomy way.
Beatles always had great drum sounds.
No, Ringo's awesome. But yeah, every song has just like this extra kick. I just hear so much. I hear so much stuff. Like everything is you said cohesive, yes, but at the same time, like I get the layers.
Do you dig it?
I dig it. And I think that on A Day in the Life is another one where it feels tighter, and I don't know if it's a faster thing, but there's something about it that just feels like intense, like more intense, and like there's this like.
There's nothing, yeah, because it's not being dissipated by.
So it's just like it's just like focus, and the song just kind of like comes right out at you, and so in like the build up parts, the crescendos before the bridge and into the end, that build up just feels so full and intense now.
Yeah, and some of the changes, like John's voice on Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, being more a pronounced effect.
No, it sounds so much cooler because that whole song now with the vocal sounding the way it does, with that like veil over the vocal, just feels more dreamlike and like
it's all
like this weird
phasey.
like nostalgic reverie thing. It's very, very cool, and it just fits together so well.
I feel like everything is just, the levels are just matched better. The guitar is a little bit louder. You have
the bass doesn't come out of the speaker and slap you on the head in every song.
It still kind of does. Bass is pretty upfront,
which I don't mind.
No,
I don't mind.
No, because it's not. It is upfront.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just Paul.
Yeah.
But I mean, everything is matched well. It's very cohesive.
Yeah.
I think I even like some things that people don't like. The lack of the pause between the reprise and Day in the Life. I like that it goes in very quickly. Actually appeals to me.
Because I always felt like that pause made it a little pretentious.
Well, it separates it,
because
obviously.
it makes it's like, no, now this song is out here, and so I always read that, like the concept, of a band playing whatever, is over with the reprise, and then reality sets in, and it's so like heavy and important, and I always hated that. So without that pause, it's just like it just keeps going. You don't like have to think about that. Oh, and now it's something different.
I will only be listening to the mono mix of this.
Okay. I mean, in general, I don't need remixes. I don't need remasters. I don't want a producer that had nothing to do with originally to come in and fiddle around with it without the artists being around anymore.
I still think some of those new things sound weird.
Yeah, all I want what the four of them did with George Martin, what they signed off on, what George Martin, made, put together, packaged. Like, I don't need other versions. Like, I just don't understand.
You give us your mono mixes and everything that they did, and Apple and Disney, keep your hands off.
Thank you for watching our brief discussion of Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. Let us know what you think of this album in mono and stereo. If you prefer one or the other, let us know what you think. Please like this video, subscribe to States and Kingdoms, and we will see you next time.